dear sewing friends, it's a girl Fola here and you're welcome back to my channel, Divine Fola Stitches. Today's tutorial will be on how to draft a pencil skirt pattern. It will be a detailed tutorial. And before we get right into it, if you're here to subscribe to my channel, please do that now. Click on the subscribe button down below and subscribe. Also turn on the notification bell so you get notified each time I upload a new video. So guys, let's get right into it. You can see I already have my pattern paper right here and I have my starting line ruled out, which will also serve as my waistline. So the first thing I will do now is to take the vertical measurements. First, I will take the measurements from my waist to my hip line. You can just take the measurements of your shoulder, from the nape of your shoulder to your hip, to the fullest part of your hip, to determine your hip line. Or you can just sit on a flat surface and take the measurement from your waist to the surface of the chair you are sitting on. So I'll just insert the measurement here. Mine is 8 inches. So from my waist to my hip line is 8 inches, which is what I have right here. I will also insert it here to get a straight line. Now the length of my skirt is 21 inches and I will add 1.5 inches to that to fold the hem. So 21 plus 1.5 inches, that is 22.5 inches. So the total length is 22.5 inches. And I will roll them into a straight line. So the next thing I will do now is to insert my horizontal measurements. So this is the waistline, this is the hip line, while this is the hem, which is also the length of my skirt. First, I will start with quarter of my waist measurements. The waist measurement I'm working with is a circumference of 29 inches. So 29 inches divided by 4, I have 7.25 inches. So I'll just make it 7.5 inches, which is what I have right here. Can you see it? And my hip circumference measurements, which is 36 inches. 36 inches divided by 4 is 9 inches, which is what I will insert right here. Then on the hemline, since it is a pencil skirt, I will take away 1 from whatever I have for my hip measurement here. I have 9 inches, so I will insert 8 inches right here. Now I will connect from my waistline here to the hip. You can make use of a hip cuff if you have one, and if you don't, you can just make use of your ruler as well, which is what I'll be using. Now, one thing I didn't mention is that I'm drafting the front bodies first. So this is the front pattern. So I'll be using this to draft the back. Now, taking my darts, which is an important aspect in drafting our pencil skirts, I'll take in the darts, and to determine that, you will use the measurement from one nipple point to the other, which is also known as bust span. So my bust span is 8 inches. So you take the measurement of yours from one nipple point to the other and you divide it by 2. So 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. So that would be my dart point. Can you see it right here? And at that point, I will take in ½ inch on both sides. So ½ inch on both sides. So for my dart length, for the front length, I'll just make it 3 inches. So I'll measure 3 inches right here and also measure 4 inches. So that will be my dart length. You can make it 3.5 or 3 inches for the front dart length. So I'll connect it in like manner with a straight line. So the ½ inch I took on both sides, you see it, I will connect it to the dart. So this will be the front dart. Can you see it? Now, let me add my side seam allowance. So coming over to the waistline here, now I took in ½ inch on both sides for the darts. I will add it back to whatever my measurement is right here. That is 1 inch, is ½ inch plus ½ inch is 1 inch. Then for the side seam allowance, I'll just make it 1 inch. So that is 2 inches, which is what I will add right here. So whatever dart you take in, if you took in 3/4 inch on both sides, that will be 1.5 inches. You add it back to whatever your waist measurement is. So I have 2 inches here. And coming over to the hip line, I will add 1 inch side seam allowance, which is what I have right here. Then also to the hem, I will add 1 inch side seam allowance to join both sides together. Then I will also connect it in like manner. Can you see it? Now, what I will do is to cut out this front pattern and use it to cut the back, because there's still some alteration we have to do at the front pattern, but I will cut it out first and use it to cut the back. So guys, this is the pattern paper for the back bodies. So I will place the front on it. But the first thing I will do is to take in my zipper allowance at this point. So there will be a zipper for this skirt. So I'll take a zipper allowance of 1 inch. So I'll measure 1 inch all through. You can take a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. It depends on how much zipper allowance you want to use. But 1 inch is okay. Now I will place the front bodies on the back bodies in like manner, starting from the zipper allowance. You can see I already ruled it out, marked it already, so I'll place it on the line. You can just pin it down or place a weighty object on it. So I'll just, can you see it? Now I will use the front to cut out the back. Now for the dart, I will notch it so I will know where my dart point is. Then for the back dart length, I made use of 3 inches for the front dart length. I will make use of 3.5 inches. So I will take in 1/2 inch on both sides too for the back dart. So that is the essence of notching it, giving it a notch at this point, so I will know where my dart is, where the dart point is. Then I'll measure 4 inches. So I'll just make the back dart to be 4 inches for the length. Then I'll connect it in like manner. So the back dart is always longer than the front dart because of the butt, to give the butt area some shape. Now the next thing I will do, so let me put the back pattern aside. So going over to the front pattern, at this point, at the waist area, you will come down by 1/2 inch. Can you see it? 1/2 inch. And connect it from this point to the side area here. Just connect it in like manner. You can make use of your hip curve or even a straight ruler. Let me just make use of a straight ruler. So let me just make use of a straight ruler to connect it. Can you see it? Can you see it? So this is our skirt, pencil skirt pattern. Another thing is, if you are adding a band to your skirt, that means you have to remove whatever your band height will be from the length of your skirt. For example, if I want to add 1 inch band to my skirt, that means I will be removing 1 inch from my skirt length. My skirt length is 21 inches. So my skirt length will be 20 inches because of the band I will be adding to it. And you will add 1/2 inch at the upper part here to join the skirt to the band. And also, when you are cutting it out, this is the front pattern, your fabric should be on fold. At this point, your fabric should be on fold. So your fabric will be on fold for the front, and for the back as well, you will have 2 of this. Your fabric will also be on fold, so you will have 2 of the back pattern, while the front pattern will be on fold without no opening. So that is that on how to draft a pencil skirt. So what I will do now is to place it on my fabric and cut it out. Can you see how the front is a bit lower towards the middle area? So this is the front pattern, while this is the back pattern. So guys, we've come to the end of today's tutorial. If this tutorial has been helpful, kindly give me a giant thumbs up. And if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, consider subscribing. Click on the subscribe button down below and subscribe. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.